CUNY BA is a program built on ambition, curiosity, and innovation, qualities that students have exemplified in their academic and professional path. Whether you design a major that broke new ground, or pursue the unconventional passion, or force a new career, this program is a testament to what is possible when education is truly student-driven. This evening is about reconnecting, sharing stories, and continuing to support one another. So let's take the opportunity to celebrate our diverse experiences, strengthen our network, and inspire the next generation of CUNY BA students. Thank you again for being here and for your contribution to this program and for making CUNY BA community extraordinary. Before we begin the panel, I would like to pass the mic to our academic director, Dr. Jody Weissman, for opening remarks. Thank you again.
I'm interested before you clap. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to be short because these are the people who we want to hear from. But for those of you who are alums, and there's quite a few of you, want to raise your hands? Yes, thank you. Love that you're here. I'm going to give you some fast facts. The CUNY Baccalaureate for Unique and Interdisciplinary Studies has over 8,000 alumni. We are over 50 years old. And another number I love to tout is over $340,000 in scholarships. And that's including new grants, unfortunately, that weren't here when you were here, but these students can to study abroad, unpaid internships, and research. So we're always looking to expand opportunities. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to CeCe, who's going to be your lovely moderator. And I will give one quick promo for alums. There are ways you can engage in the program. If you read our newsletter that you're getting, we have workshops. You can be a peer mentor, and we have other new ways to engage with the program that will be coming really soon. So just let us know if you're interested. Yeah. CeCe. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jody. I'll ask Aaron, our SLC, fellow SLC board, for the moderator. He'll do a better job than I do.
I'm not sure about that. Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm just a fellow SLC member. For now, I'm just here to ask the questions, if anything. I'll start off with a question for you guys. What career path did you envision applying for with your degree? Was it similar? Was it different to the career path that you have now as well?
Hello everyone, my name is Siera Janaé. I graduated in 2020 at the top of the pandemic, so I actually did not get a chance to walk the stage and graduate in that way. So I'm really excited to be here today and get to tell a little bit about my experience. So thank you for having me. I would say I went to college my program was business and content strategy. So when I was in the program, I did think that I would transition into working for a marketing agency. That was my hope, and that's what a lot of my professors were like trying to get me to do because they saw that I was good with marketing. But I actually did not get a marketing job like straight out of the program. It took me a little bit of time to do that, but while I was in college in my last semester, in my final semester, I started working on my own business. So I knew that I wanted to pursue what I set out to go to school for.
Hello everyone, I'm Nafeeur. I graduated 2023 summer, and I did my concentration in philosophy and computer science. So I wanted to work in something that would like combine technology and policy. So I specialize in computer science and like philosophy of technology, and my goal was to like maybe get some sort of like government fellowship and like apply like both skills. So like with computer science, I get to like learn about all the new and latest like technologies that's out there, and with philosophy, I wanted to like apply those into like more social settings. That was the goal, but it didn't really work out that way. So after graduation, I got a job as a software engineer at one of the labs at MIT. It's mostly funded by government, so I'm still in that like sphere, the government sphere. I still have that like doing like tech policy that's still in my back of my mind. I want to like pursue that sometimes in the future, but right now, yeah, I'm mostly applying one area of my concentration right now.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Jocelyn Rajaballey. I also graduated in 2023. My AOC was urban health geography, so kind of like the intersection between public health and geography. I envisioned, after graduating, really going into mostly public health research, which I did for a while, but I was a little restless. So I decided to try out something a little new. I did a 10-month service period with AmeriCorps, where I got to work in emergency management, and there's a lot of overlap. Emergency management is also a very interdisciplinary field, so there's overlap there with public health. So I still got to use a lot of the skills and a lot of what I learned as a student in CUNY BA, but also kind of build on some new school skills and also learn some new things, experience some new things. And I am still working in emergency management. Now I work for the city's Office of Emergency Management.
Thank you for the brief introduction that I wasn't able to give you guys. Moving on to the next question. Do you guys think that the interdisciplinary degrees that you guys went for, do you think it helped within your hireability within the certain fields that you wanted to go for, or even in different fields that you kind of applied for?
I think that, I don't know if hireability is the right word I'd use, but definitely employers like to see that you can navigate like different lanes. And so I don't see it as a con. I think they definitely have seen it as a pro to have majored in my case, I've majored in 2 things. And so that was definitely something that set me apart from some candidates. So I think they took it as a positive, certainly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's the CUNY BA, like it's never bad to have like more credentials, right? And like CUNY BA by its like nature gives you like it helps you like master like multiple fields at the same time. So from my own experience, I think it actually helped me because whenever like I did interviews, it was always like a conversation starter, like, oh, that's a very interesting degree, and then like we'd go from there. So yeah, I think it definitely helped me.
No, I definitely agree. I think it's definitely a conversation starter when hiring managers see it on a resume. They say, oh, what's CUNY BA, or what is this interesting major that you studied? And once they hear that you created your own major and that you worked with a mentor, I think it really shows that CUNY BA students have tenacity. We're very resilient. We have creative minds. We're doing something that the traditional college student doesn't do. So I think it's definitely a positive when it comes to looking for work, for sure.
Staying on this trend of this with your CUNY BA degrees, specifically when it comes to applying for jobs and applying for grad schools as well, how did you kind of explain your AOCs specifically?
I always start out with what the program is and kind of speak to having the ability to have faculty mentors, and because a lot of students don't get the opportunity to actually have a program that you design your curriculum with faculty mentors, so I make note of that, and that normally is like a intriguing, thing for people to hear. And also, I like to talk about the relationships I built with my faculty mentors, because I actually am still in contact with them today, even though I graduated years ago at this point, and I just had lunch with my faculty mentor a couple weeks ago. So we still maintain those relationships, and that's something that a lot of traditional college students don't tend to get. And I can always really say in an interview, like, oh, you can contact one of my past faculty mentors, because I still talk to them. So it's kind of like a leg up.
So when I applied to grad school, I just like wrote like few sentences like describing CUNY BA, like what is the program about, like, and how it works, and then just like just give them the link to CUNY BA website. Yeah, but I also think it depends on like what kind of program, grad program like are we applying to. for me, I am doing my master's like part-time at Georgia Tech, and it's an online program, so they don't really like require you to like provide 2 months information about your like undergrad degree. So, but if you're applying to like PhD, then I would think like you actually have to go in more in depth of your undergrad studies.
No, I think even if it does come up in an interview or on an application, where you get a chance to explain what CUNY BA is or what your specific area of concentration was, I've found that it's kind of sometimes easier to just distill it down to whatever fits the context of what you're applying for. So, if I was applying for like a specific job that was more related to the geography side of things versus the public health, then I would highlight like specific geography courses that I took instead of the public health courses, and just kind of knowing what to take from your CUNY BA experience that really fits the context of what you're looking to do.
Do you think that your CUNY BA experience has influenced your way of thinking in terms of the job market, as well as in terms of moving forward with this kind of mindset of having more or less of a application that you aspire to have?
For me, I kind of do feel like CUNY BA has prepared me to take on like challenging projects of my own. Like I feel like I'm not as afraid to do something like that, like I'm very proactive to do projects and take on projects because I've had to find faculty mentors, I've had to design a curriculum myself and learn how to navigate all of that, and so it kind of makes me feel less afraid to go in and challenge myself.
It's like having like doing concentration in like multiple areas of studies. I think that kind of helped me like understand like I don't really have to like specialize in like one specific area of study. So, so for example, when I applied to grad school, even though I'm like doing computer science, but I'm trying to like specialize in like human-computer interaction, and that's like more in line with my like philosophy concentration. So I think that's like one way it like influenced my decisions. Like CUNY BA influenced my decisions after like graduation.
I think CUNY BA students we have the ability to see things that other people don't. We see connections between different fields, between different issues, and we find these solutions that maybe other people struggle to find because we have this experience of creating, an interdisciplinary path of study. So I think, I've really tried to take that with me in every, job that I've had and every project that I work on. I think being in CUNY BA has really given me confidence that I didn't have beforehand, to really put myself out there and think of these innovative solutions and things that, might not make sense to everyone, but, hey, if we could get through CUNY BA, we could make this brand new major and we could, go through the process of finding a mentor, e-permitting, right? Like, why not try a different solution, right?
In terms of your experience with employers and interviewers, have you received any feedback about being a CUNY BA student, such as, like you mentioned before, where you had comments about, oh, what is this CUNY BA stuff? Have you received any feedback in terms of what employers say about CUNY BA?
I've had employers kind of just mention that they never heard of CUNY BA before because it is a smaller program, and so when they see it and I describe it to them, it's like unique, and they're like, oh, I never heard of that. That's interesting.
For me, it's always been like a positive experience during like interviews. So I'll give you an example. During my interview at MIT, so one of the interviews, I think was like her brother was also doing a program like very similar to mine. Like I think like he was studying like computer science, like some form of like ethics. So it was like again like a conversation starter. So for me, the experience always been like very positive.
No, it's been a very similar experience for me. I do think, that there definitely is some work to be done with kind of getting the name out there still. I've definitely had a few interviews or a few coworkers say to me, "Oh, that's interesting. Can I do that for grad school?" So, I think that there is interest out there when people hear about it. It's just that additional, like, oh, I didn't know this existed. And I do think, like, I've also heard from supervisors and such before that they appreciate the diversity in the types of courses I took, because it comes with a diverse skill set that other applicants don't usually have.
How do you think the CUNY BA experience has prepared you for post-grad life?
I'd say that, again, with like the projects that I go after, starting my own business, I was able to take initiative with that, and because I had built up those skills during the program, I was able to, challenge myself in a way that I probably would have never challenged myself if I had not gone through the program. And so I was able to apply all of the content that I use, because I did start doing the work that I went to college for immediately after graduating. And so it did put me on track to what I do now, which is, my business.
For me, I think CUNY BA gave me some important technical skills for grad school. So because I did my concentration with philosophy, I had to write a lot of papers in undergrad. But if I just did just computer science, it's just coding and math. So now I'm in grad school, and I have to write 20-page paper every week. And I'm like, okay, glad I did CUNY BA, because I have that experience now. So that's just one example.
I think what I've definitely taken away, that's most important to me for post-grad life is, knowing that I should never give up, and I shouldn't be afraid of people saying no. One no doesn't mean that the next 20-year-old going to be no's. I hope none of you have had this experience, but I'm sure, maybe you're reaching out for a mentor and the first person says, no, I can't do it, I'm sorry, find somebody else. Before CUNY BA, I was very much a loner and an introvert, and I kept to myself, and the idea of seeking out a faculty mentor was extremely intimidating for me. But through the relationship with my mentor, I was exposed to so many opportunities that I never would have been exposed to if I didn't do CUNY BA and I didn't have a mentor. And that confidence, now in post-grad life, to keep putting myself out there even when I'm uncomfortable, it's been so important, and really just a positive experience and a positive change for me that I really owe to CUNY BA and that experience.
If you could go back, right, would you do anything different in your CUNY BA program?
I think I would challenge myself to get out of my shell a little bit more and network more openly with other CUNY BA students, because I really don't know many other CUNY BA students. I was the only one in some of my classes, so I would have loved to network with some more CUNY BA students so that we could form a community, and I encourage anybody that's actually currently in the program to do that, because you do need community and you do need someone to kind of talk to, and sometimes it can be a little, challenging, because she mentioned, the first person I reached out to for a business mentor, they definitely turned me down, and I was oh my God, how am I supposed to find someone that will say yes? But I did eventually, and I actually found that person through my my content strategy faculty mentors.
If I could go back, I would definitely take more classes in different fields. I started CUNY BA pretty late, end of my sophomore year, so I wish I started earlier. If I knew about CUNY BA, I probably would have done that. But yeah, I wish I'd taken more classes and maybe did undergrad research.
Yeah, I agree with both answers. I'm going to kind of riff off of you both. But definitely networking more. I also was a student during the pandemic, so there weren't a lot of in-person networking opportunities, and I kind of used that as an excuse to not put myself out there a little more. I should have definitely taken more advantage of virtual networking opportunities that were available at the time. So I definitely recommend just just put yourself out there. Go to all of these events. They're so great, you know. And then also, like, I definitely would have started CUNY BA a little earlier if I had, you know, hindsight is 2020, but just the ability to take different classes. I think, got to take classes at 2 or 3 different campuses. I definitely would have taken advantage of a little more if I had the time.
Do you guys have any advice for all the undergrads who are currently in the CUNY BA program or looking to be in the CUNY BA program as well?
I would say upon graduation, don't forget who you are. It will be challenging at times to find employment, and it's a lot going on in the government and things like that that can affect, you know, your hireability that does not even have to do with you. And so I would say remember your courage and ambition to do the CUNY BA program, because that will stay with you for the rest of your life if you allow it to. Do not give up on your dreams after you graduate. That would be my advice.
I would say take advantage of all the opportunities that CUNY BA has to offer and make good connections, make friends, and just try to enjoy life. Because once you get a full-time job, it gets rough.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely take advantage of everything, not just CUNY BA opportunities, but also opportunities at your home college. I know sometimes it can be a little weird. I had some instances where my home college was like, but you're not really our student, you're a CUNY BA student, you know. You might run into some funky things like that, but don't let it stop you. Definitely, you know, ask around, take advantage of your mentor relationship, you know, like, ask your mentor, hey, do you know any other professors that I can work with, even if it's not a formal mentoring relationship, you know, and just try to remember that once you graduate, if you do have, you know, issues or struggles with employment, or maybe, you know, your grand idea when you first started your area of concentration might look a lot different when you graduate. It might have changed, you know, you might be thinking about trying something else or using your area of concentration in a different way. Like, that's okay, you know, as you get older, and, you know, it's a wild world out there. You learn new things, you experience new things. Just don't be too hard on yourself if life in your first year of CUNY BA doesn't exactly match how it is the first year that you graduate.
This will be the final question before we open up to questions for the audience. So let's make this a good one. Which one is most likely your best memory of your CUNY BA experience?
I loved going to City College. And it was pretty far from where I lived, but I just like going there because the campus is so beautiful. Like, they have all types of stuff that a lot of the other campuses just don't have. Art, and I was like literally in another world, transported to another college. And so I love that. And that is one of my favorite memories. And the others are just, you know, having chats with my mentors and being able to get their advice and things like that.
Same, it's going to different like CUNY campuses. That was like what you explained for me. I really like the John Jay campus actually. Yeah. But yeah, also like being part of the SLC was a fun experience for me. But like commuting to different campuses, that wasn't a good memory. Because one time I took classes at John Jay, Hunter, and like CCNY same day, and it was kind of horrible.
Wow.
I wouldn't recommend that.
I mean, since we're shouting out campuses, I will shout out Lehman. That was my home college. Lehman is kind of a hidden gem in the CUNY system. Definitely shout out for anybody who's interested. Look at the classes that they offer. That was also my favorite campus of all of them. But yeah, no, I think besides being able to explore different campuses, you know, once we were allowed to when classes got back in person, also just the relationship with my mentor. That is a relationship that I still maintain to this day, that I carry with me. I really think that's like probably in my top 3 like favorite things about the program. I think that's number 1 is the mentor-student relationship, for sure. And yeah, I really think my future would have turned out so differently. I know I keep saying this, but it would have turned out so differently if I didn't have that mentor-mentee relationship.
I love the campus shout-outs. I love the campus shout-outs.
Well, City College wasn't my home college. City Tech was my home college, but I love City College though. So.
Yeah, same. Hunter was my home college, but I didn't really like Hunter.
We'll just open up the questioning to, I guess, the audience. If anyone has any questions for our panelists.
At what point during your previous degree did you realize that you wanted to switch to this program? And like, were you a junior and stuff, or senior? And how much more time, or how many more semesters did it take you to graduate compared to staying where you were?
I think I was either in my freshman or sophomore year when I decided to switch to CUNY BA. I was actually enrolled in my faculty mentor's class, and we were building our relationship, and I think he might have told me about it, or I got an email about it, and then I just was like, I want to switch. I don't want to do this. I was doing professional and technical writing at City Tech, and then I was like, this doesn't feel 100% like me. So that's another benefit of doing CUNY BA is like you get to be yourself. Like you can choose what you really want to pursue as your passion, and so that's when I took the leap and changed. And I graduated within the 4 years, so it didn't take me that long.
I think I took a gap semester, so I graduated a bit late, but I switched to CUNY BA end of my sophomore year. So I was just like a regular computer science major at Hunter, and I was like, I wanted to do like something to do with like tech policy, so I was like searching up programs, and so I came across this program at Stanford. It's called Symbolic System, and it's like combines like computer science, philosophy, psychology, and like a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, see if like CUNY has anything like similar to offer. Then I just searched on Google, and like CUNY BA popped up, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I want. Yeah. So then I think I like reached out to like Brandon, who was a former SLC chairman, and like that's how I like got into like CUNY BA.
Yeah, for me, my path was a little different, only because I was kind of a non-traditional student. I had done 2 years at Hunter when I first graduated from high school, and originally at Hunter I was like an environmental science major, but then I took like a long time off from school. From 2015 to 2020, so almost 5 years I took off. And when I came back in 2020, I went to BMCC because they have an associate's program in public health. I was like, this is definitely what I want to do. But as I was finishing up my associates, I was like, I actually want to do like 5 other things. So I was like looking at every senior college in the CUNY system, and I'm looking at all the majors that they offered, and I'm just like, oh man, I wish I could do this, this, and this, and this. So I remember going into Google and just Googling like, what do I want to do if I can't like choose my major, because I want to study everything. I want like a triple or quadruple major, and CUNY BA somehow came up in that Google search on like page 3 or something. It was a crazy like long search, but anyway. So yeah, it was interesting because as a non-traditional student, because I had classes from so many different, that kind of fit into so many different major pathways, doing CUNY BA actually saved me time. I actually graduated earlier than I would have if I did a traditional major. So CUNY BA is actually, I think this is something that hasn't been mentioned yet, but it's actually a really great program for non-traditional students that are worried about maybe not graduating on time, or they're interested in multiple majors, but they're afraid it will take them longer. This is definitely a program that could benefit them.
All 3 of you have mentioned how pivotal the mentee-mentor relationship was to your time at CUNY BA. Can you tell us a little bit more about what those conversations were like, and exactly what the mentor did to support you?
A lot of the conversations were like, they were very helpful too, because I chose a mentor that not only was like an educator, but also kind of like a life coach or something. So he would definitely assure that I had guidance, which, I did not really grow up with a lot of guidance in my life, and so I found that he kept me on track, you know, like, and helped me see things a different way, that I would have not saw those things if not for him. And he also accepted my awkwardness, because I think that a lot of CUNY BA students are kind of weird because we are very interested in a lot of different things, and we're very like scientific, nerdy types of people. And my mentor, he definitely like accepted that about me and helped me figure myself out a little bit.
Same. So because I'm like interested in like so many things, and my mentors really helped me like track down like one specific area for my concentration. So I used to like meet with my mentors like almost like every week, and we just like talk about like random stuff. Sometimes like go through like research papers and like talk about that, even though I wasn't like taking their classes. So that was like a very fun experience for me. But yeah, that definitely like helped me be on track for the program.
Yeah, I think because I was a student during the pandemic, the mentor-mentee relationship was not just always necessarily academic. It also kind of became, there were definitely moments where it was personal, you know, like we would meet and not just talk about courses and potential like research or internship opportunities, but also just, you know, how's life going? Like, are you doing okay? You know, is there any way that I can support you that's not academic? Which was really great and really helpful. You know, there were so many times where I would come into one of our meetings and just have like word vomit. Oh, my poor mentor, oh my gosh, especially at the beginning. So, you know, she also kind of really helped me just rein in my interests, you know, kind of make sure that I didn't do too much, you know, and overwhelm myself, but was still able to explore everything that I wanted to. She exposed me to a lot of, you know, research opportunities, which again, like before CUNY BA, I did not have the confidence to seek those out on my own or to even apply to those on my own. So having a mentor, you know, kind of in my court, like cheering me on and also giving me advice was so invaluable. But yeah.
If anything, I have a personal question. How did you guys manage your guys' time, considering all of the commute and just the constant classes? Where did you guys find time to study, to have a social life, to go for the extra mile?
I chose a lot of online programs, and that helped me with the commutes. Like, that was a huge benefit as I was pursuing the degree. And not all of them, well, not all of my courses were online. I did get to go, I went to Baruch, I went to City College, Hunter. So I traveled a lot, but I would make it so that I wouldn't have to travel such a far distance during certain days of the week, or try to get some of the same, like, similar courses at the same college to kind of help me manage and not have to commute so often. But it can definitely get crazy with the commutes and the schedule. And I too used to go to campuses, like 3 campuses in a day at times, or 2. But I enjoyed it too at the same time.
Yeah, online classes were like a lifesaver, especially during summer. But I also pulled a lot of all-nighters. One advice I would give, like, try to create like a schedule for yourself, like a deadline. I think that like really helped me like managing the program. But yeah, just creating like deadlines for yourself and like.
Unfortunately, I am one of those people who likes to leave things until the last minute. I am a little bit of a procrastinator, but I really headed all of those issues off with a calendar. I know it sounds so simple and like the easiest thing ever, but it can be hard for some people to keep a calendar, and keeping a detailed calendar with like assignments and like class times, and even like it's okay to pencil in like social time and self-care time. It might seem silly, but trust me, it helps. Just to have like that physical reminder like on your phone or like even on a physical calendar of like, hey, you need to stop whatever you're doing right now and take a minute to breathe, or like stop what you're doing right now and call your mom, you know. That was definitely a lifesaver during that time, because school can be very stressful, you know, and managing, you know, all the other stuff happening in life, whatever it might be, like, you definitely need to make sure that you're making time not just for your studies, but also to make sure that you're healthy of body and mind.
You know, it's not a question, it's more like a comment for current students. I'm an alumni, I graduated in 2018. There's like you guys should take advantage of like studying abroad. There's, like Kate has like a depth of knowledge when it comes to studying abroad. Right? And I remember attending, like one day, like randomly attending like studying abroad. It was like, yeah, it was like a little conference, right? And it changed my life completely. So you guys should think about that. And you know, you think this is gonna open your eyes and make you think differently, and you're gonna think more abstractly and critically. But if you study abroad, it's gonna open up a whole different world. You know, like going to another country and exchanging ideas, and like the depth of knowledge that comes from that, and you bring that back to America and you utilize it and it's applicable, it will change your life. So you guys should definitely look into those resources, especially with CUNY BA, like the Fulbright, there's the Gilman. I was a Fulbrighter and I was a Gilman Scholar, and the Critical Language Scholarship. So you guys should take advantage of that, because Kate has a lot of expertise with it. You know, she was my. I think she got sick of me because I was in her office so much. Squeeze every single dollar. You guys should utilize it. Foreign is very foreign.
Thank you so much. Yeah, but I do recommend that. If anything, I'll be looking into that as well, because I've been semi-gazing at it, just hesitant. But yeah, does anyone else have any questions? I guess we'll just do one more then. If anything, Siera, I know you mentioned before that it was kind of hard to connect with other CUNY BA students. In terms of that, where did you find connections themselves? Did you perhaps go after clubs within other CUNY campuses? Did you go after certain other social events and stuff like that, just in order to find connections? Where could these potential connections come from?
A lot of the connections I made happened in my courses, so like my in-person courses. If I did group projects with some other students, I would connect with them, and I had friends and stuff at my home college already, so I would hang out with them too.
I would say just like talk to people, just like your classmates, your professors. Yeah, just say hi and like make friends. I'm a very introverted, like antisocial person, but like I just like went up to people and like made friends and like, yeah.
I definitely took advantage of club events. I went to a lot of events at Lehman. That's the campus I was at the most, so I just figured, you know, why not put myself out there? You know, I didn't get like too overly involved with the clubs just because, you know, time-wise, but, you know, even if I didn't find a club that was like 100% something I was interested in, I would go anyway, just to kind of, you know, get that social time and that face-to-face time. And, you know, I ran into a lot of people who I otherwise wouldn't have interacted with, like in other majors or other departments, and, you know, they were able to like turn me on to like, hey, I'm actually taking this great class. If you can take classes anywhere, why don't you try this one? Like, this is a really great professor. So that actually in my very last semester in CUNY BA, I ended up taking a class at Queens College on the recommendation from someone I met at a club event. So, you know, you never know who you'll meet. Definitely, you know, try out clubs at whatever campus you're taking classes at. I don't believe there are any restrictions on who attends the events. As long as you can access campus, you can go to the events. So definitely take advantage.
What are some tips that you guys have on navigating CUNY bureaucracy? Like, what do most people not normally know that you
What I like to do, like, because when I was in college, I could not, like, take out laptops and stuff, and then I would be just like, oh, I can go to Baruch and take out a laptop, like, you know, and so I think you kind of have to ask around to see, like at each college, like what can I use here, and what resource can I get from attending this college. Yeah.
Yeah, just like reach out to people, like reach out to your mentors, reach out to your classmates, and like, yeah, like that's the option.
Yeah, thankfully I didn't run into too many issues with bureaucracy while I was in CUNY BA, but the few times that I did run into like e-permit issues or like issues accessing another campus where I was taking a class at, my first line of defense was always my mentor, because I wasn't her first CUNY BA student, so she was kind of already familiar with some of the, eccentricities of the program. So she would reach out to like my home college's like registrar or whatever to try to smooth things over. And if she couldn't figure it out, then I'd reach out to Kate, and Kate would figure it out. And also sometimes, yeah, like just reaching out to your fellow CUNY BA students. So when I would take a class like at Queens College or Brooklyn College or wherever else, I would reach out to a CUNY BA student who that was their home college, so that they could kind of give me some advice on like, where do you go to get your ID so that you can access campus? Like, how do you get into the library? Like, what are certain hours for certain places on campus? So definitely, like, those are the three: your advisor, your mentor, your other fellow CUNY BA students, for sure, are going to be like your best resource.
I'm really curious, how many times did you guys, because Jocelyn had mentioned that she added a class in her last semester, how many times did you guys iterate on your initial set of courses, and did you iterate on those courses as you were taking a couple and realized, actually I want to do more of this, or I don't want to do that, let me go in a different direction? I'm curious if you remember how many times you had to change or you thought of changing.
I didn't actually think about changing that often. Because myself, I was majoring in 2 different things, so it was like I already had a good mix of classes that I could choose from. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so sometimes when I'm taking a class, I would like find out about this other class, and then it would be like, maybe I should take that class instead of this one. So yeah, it's like, I definitely did take like extra classes because of that, but yeah. For example, like I didn't know about Hunter had like an unpaid internship like with your computer science program, and I wanted like so instead of doing like a capstone for like computer science, I did the internship and I used that as my capstone. Because with the internship, I actually like had I guess the project I made was like more meaningful in a way. So yeah.
For me, I did change the courses in my AOC twice. The one time because it was on recommendation from someone and I really wanted to take that class and it fit perfectly into my AOC. The other time was because I ran into an issue where classes that I needed weren't being offered anymore. And I was about to graduate and I had no other choice but to replace the class. So that's definitely, I think, something that some of us have run into and might run into in the future. But because we have access to all of the CUNY schools, finding a replacement was not that difficult. And I was actually able to speak with my mentor about getting permission to do a grad class instead. So I replaced one of the courses with the equivalent course, but it was graduate level. So I ended up fixing the problem and also getting some graduate credit at the same time. So that was a great solution, win-win. But yeah, only once or twice, and it was a very painless process.
So if you're undergrad and planning on going to grad school, I would definitely recommend like taking graduate classes during your undergrad. It'll like actually like help you prepare for the postgrad studies.
So where do you all see yourselves in the next 5 years?
Well, I'm currently in a master's program right now, so I hope to be done with that. And so I hope to be done with that, and I hope that my business is thriving by then, and I hope that I can come back again in the future to show you where I'm at that point.
Yes, same. I want to finish my master's program. That's probably going to take me like 3 more years because I'm doing it part-time. In terms of work, I'll probably gonna try out like some of the different like industries. Like I'll probably like just explore, see what's like out there, and like yeah. I'm not sure yet. That's probably, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually delayed doing a master's because I decided to work instead, but I definitely still do want to get my master's in public health, so in 5 years, hopefully, I will have that by then. And I definitely see myself sticking with where I am right now. I really enjoy the field of emergency management. I think there's a lot of room for growth. It's a field that's ever changing and very interdisciplinary. There's a lot of places to go. Definitely probably going to be still in the same field in 5 years.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if anything, yeah.
No, one more question.
Okay. Oh, no. I mean, I do have a small one. It's a fun one. What is a class that you would recommend?
I definitely recommend like a communications class because it's you know, social media is so big these days, and so you can really get an advantage out of learning how to do graphic design or learn how to use Canva or some sort of software in the communications arena, so that you can take that with you, because you don't know what role you might end up in, and so just knowing how to like communicate graphics or just content, I think anybody can benefit from that.
Same. I would recommend like taking any like technical class that would be actually like helpful in like the job market. Also, I would really recommend taking like any like intro to philosophy class, because I feel like it will like actually help you like it's like critical thinking. And, I think it's like a useful class, not for just your existing like concentration, but like anything you do outside of that. I think it applies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, if you are doing an area of concentration that is very like creativity based or like, you know, in the arts, try taking a class that's outside of your comfort zone, maybe an elective that's more, you know, science based or tech based, you know, and vice versa. If you're doing like a tech or science based AOC, like try taking an art class, you know, or a philosophy class or something that's, you know, more in the liberal arts field. I took a interdisciplinary class at Lehman, and I think a lot of CUNY campuses do this, so this might be something to look into. They sometimes offer classes that are cross-listed in 2 different departments, so I took a course that was cross-listed in the geography department and in the studio art department, and we actually, like, it combined geography students with art students, and we created, like, this exhibition about, you know, climate change, and we all got to really get out of our comfort zones and do things, you know, I got to build a sculpture, like a canoe made out of paper mache. I would have never done that, you know, if I hadn't taken that class, and that's so far out of like the realm of what I thought I could do. So, you know, just look into something that might be something you never thought of and out of your comfort zone.
Thank you guys. Round of applause to those alumni. It was very inspiring. So now we're open up for networking time. Enjoy the food, and yeah, thank you guys.